Hi everybody, thanks for joining and tuning in. Today I'm going to do my review on Insecure episode 9 season 4 Lowkey Trying. I was pleasantly surprised. I think pleasantly surprised may be the right choice of words to see that the season or the episode opened up with Lawrence and Issa back together again, chilling, hanging out for the day, having sex, working, having sex, watching TV, having sex. It gave you the old feel of, you know, when you break up with somebody and you guys decide to get back together, those first couple of moments that you're together, you just want to be engulfed in each other and, you know, cancel out the whole world and just be completely consumed with each other and just, you know, get back in to whatever it was that you lost when you broke up and just enjoy the element of happiness and being back together. I liked that they had a conversation about after, you know, a couple of days of them being together and having, you know, sex and just chilling. I like that Issa brought up, you know, what's going on? Like, what are we doing? Because, you know, they've been together, they've been hanging out. This seems like it's a little thing. She doesn't necessarily want to jump to conclusions. And Lawrence kind of followed up with, you know, it's whatever you want it to be. She asked about Condola. He kind of gave an answer that I wasn't 100% okay with. It wasn't really clear on what was going on if him and Condola were done. Now, my assumptions are him and Condola are done. I think he's, you know, had the conversation with her. But for some reason, I feel like this isn't the last time we're going to see and or even hear about or from Condola. I get like a feeling that Condola may resurface. I don't know if I think she's going to resurface pregnant. Or she's going to find out that Issa and Lawrence are back together because maybe she tries to make a play at Lawrence to try to reconcile what they had. I'm not 100% certain, but I don't really feel like we're finished with Condola, but that could just be my gut. But again, I was surprised. I thought when last week's episode ended, I thought that Issa had gotten the closure that she needed. She and Lawrence were able to have a conversation, discuss what happened, truly have a good conversation about what happened, you know, after they've kind of calmed down. They had lived their separate lives. Some things had happened, some things, you know, happened within them to have them kind of change and grow up and kind of take a different perspective on life. So I thought that maybe that was just it, but apparently it wasn't. So, you know, like I said, scene opens up, they hang out. Issa does tell him about Nathan, that she's planning on helping him move. She's honest about the fact that she did mess with him at one particular point in time. So this way she's, you know, doing her part to make sure that the trust is there and she's building a good foundation so that Lawrence doesn't have to worry about the trust. See, that's how, you know, their breakup was on her part because she cheated. And Lawrence handled it pretty maturely. I thought it was really good where he's like, okay, you know, at the end of the day, we have been broken up for a while. I do understand that you probably have other friendships of the people in your life that weren't here before. He seemed to be pretty mature about everything, so I like that. Then we get to the next scene is Molly in therapy, which for some reason, it seemed like Molly is not, to me, I don't feel like Molly is being very real or very open to receive the messages and the counseling that she is receiving from her therapist. Now, first of all, I love that she has a Black therapist. I love that. And I love that it's a woman. So let's start there. I love that. But I think that Molly is using the therapy sessions more or less to kind of vent about what's going on, which is fine. That's what you generally do in counseling. And I kind of think she's looking for some type of vindication. Like, I really feel like I said, I don't really think she's really taking a good survey of what, I don't know how to really say this. I don't really think she's taking a good survey and paying attention to what's really going on and the problems that she actually has with everybody comes from her. I don't really think she's really getting that. I guess that's the best way I can describe it. I like that the therapist actually said something that made her think. You know, you have a pattern here. When it comes down to people being in your life, the minute somebody doesn't do what you want them to do, the minute somebody doesn't do what you want them to do, you just cut them off. There's no chance. There's no nothing. You just cut them off. So do you want to be right, or do you want to be in relationships? And I think that's something she really needed to think about. I love that the counselor posed that as a question. Something to think about. Like you sit here and you telling me about all these people and everything that they have done to you and why you've had to cut them off. Not necessarily getting that the pattern is the minute somebody doesn't do what you expect them to do or what you want them to do, you cut them off. I think that she received that, like she heard it, but I think her choice, if I have to be honest, if I think she had to answer that question, I think the question is she would rather be right than to have the relationships. That's just the vibe that I get off of her. But she does talk about Issa, and they do talk about whether or not, Issa and the relationship she has with Issa serves her anymore. And that's sometimes what you got to think about too. We have friendships and relationships in our life, not just with good girlfriends. We got them with guys as well, our boyfriends, our husbands. It comes to a point where sometimes relationships come to an end and they no longer serve you. There's just no longer any purpose for that particular relationship in your life. It's run its course and it's time to, kind of move on. So I think that that's something that she left the therapy session thinking about, because it, to me, feels like, and I'll give my opinion at the end in terms of how I feel about Molly and Issa. I feel like Molly is at the end of her road when it comes down to Issa. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that she's unwilling to listen and hear the things that she's doing as a friend that, is helping to bring a demise to the relationship. I think that she's having a hard time facing her own truth and just being honest with herself when it comes down to the things that she contributes to relationships. I think she thinks she's always right and everybody else is wrong. And I also think to some extent that she expects people to kind of kiss her ass. That's just my opinion. I'll give my ultimate opinion on Molly and Issa at the end, but that's the scene. And can they work it out? I mean, is this relationship salvageable? Yes, there are issues. Yes, you guys are kind of growing in different directions. The relationship's taking on a different move, but can it be repaired? I don't know. That's something that she's got to think about. I'll give my opinion at the end. So Issa getting a text from Nathan just confirming that she's going to come help him move. She, confirms that she is, and then she needs somebody to talk to. So she calls her brother. Her brother's in the middle of, eating. And it was funny because he was eating the wings and he was going through something and it was just tickling me. But she didn't get what she needed from her brother. She called Kelly first. Kelly didn't answer. So she scrolls down and she sees Molly, and then she's having a battle within herself on whether she should call Molly, and then thinks about what would happen how it would play it out if she did call Molly and how Molly would respond, which I do that. Which is a lot of the reasons why sometimes I'll be afraid to contact somebody if I'm, having a problem with them or something. I'm a big communication person. I'm big on, working things out and talking things out. But a lot of times I can be fearful too. Like, how is this going to play out? Are they going to receive me? Are we going to argue more? So I thought that was relatable when it came down to Issa on her part. But she does instead go ahead and call Molly. She, breaks the truth. She's the first one to call, like always. And they agreed to meet up for brunch. They get to the brunch and everything is just hella awkward at first, which it would be. There was a really big issue that happened at the block party. They almost fought. Molly, as far as I'm concerned, crossed the line as far as friendships are concerned. You don't jump at me. Don't do all of that. That wasn't necessary. And again, on top of that, they have other issues that are going on that are in play. So it's hella awkward. They do have their brunch. They end up eventually talking about everything other than the issue, and kind of break the ice. And Issa, felt as if things had gone well. And she was a little hopeful when it came down to her and Molly. She figured, they'll give her a couple days and the next time I see her, we'll be fine. Molly's take was a little bit different, but I'm going to get into talking about that. When Molly gets to Andrew's house, he's on the phone. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm pretty sure Andrew's probably talking to his brother, but for some reason, Andrew is making me uncomfortable. I think Andrew might be cheating on her. I don't know why I get that vibe. I could be 100% wrong. Everything seems to be going well with Molly and Andrew, but Molly is a hard person to be with. She finds a problem with every single thing that goes on. she can't just enjoy a moment and just be happy in a moment without messing it up. And I don't know, I just get a vibe that Andrew's not being very faithful. I could just be tripping. It's possible. I could very well be tripping, but I just get this impression that something going on with Andrew, and I just don't think that he's, I don't know, I get the vibe that they're not going to be together long. I just feel like there's going to be something that's going to break them up. And I think he's cheating, but nonetheless, he's talking to her about the brunch and he's asking her how things went. Of course, Molly's finding something to complain about. She says that basically it was almost like a waste of time. It was fine. You know, it was a brunch. They didn't talk about what they needed to talk about. Mind you, she didn't bring it up. Issa didn't bring it up. So that nothing was really accomplished as far as them talking about the issues they were having. But as far as she's concerned, it was a little brunch. Okay, it is what it is. Andrew brings up, you know, basically you kind of soften a little bit here. You could have, you know, initiated a conversation about the block party or had a conversation about what was happening and how you felt. So he's, you know, with him being her boyfriend, he's on her side. He got her back. But he said exactly what I would have said. Like, you could have brought it up. You didn't have to wait for her to do it. But nonetheless, he know how she is. He just let it go. And they started watching the show, you know, about the lady that's actually missing. They started watching that. Issa starts talking with her assistant. They're planning a new event. I thought it was really funny when the assistant had pulled that, whatever, I don't know what it was that she was eating, but whatever she had in her purse, she had it in her purse, and she gave me a brilliant idea that I didn't think about: hand warmers. So, like, if I ever have something that I want to stick in my purse for some reason and I want to keep warm, hand warmers will keep it warm. I just thought that was so funny and so cute. And apparently Issa did too, because she was like, okay, wow. Lawrence then calls Issa. They talk for a little while. And Lawrence is in San Francisco. My impression is that he's in San Francisco, and he got the job. So he's, you know, probably not in a position to really, you know, tell her that as of yet, but I think he got the job because he said things went really well in San Francisco. She talks to him about the block party. I mean, not the block party, but some events that she's, you know, in the middle of doing. She then also lets him know about the brunch that she had with Molly. And again, she's optimistic. She's hopeful that, you know, things are going to work out. She figures I'll just give her a couple days and, you know, we'll reach out, we'll do something, and after that, we'll be fine. So she's very optimistic. Obviously, they both had two different opinions or two different, you know, thought processes in terms of how everything went with that brunch. Molly, on the one hand, is like, it was a waste of time. And Issa, on the other hand, is like, I think we're going to be just fine. So Issa arrives at Nathan's. She's kind of feeling a little awkward because, of course, she's now back with Lawrence. They were trying to work things out. And she knows that there's some chemistry and there was some history with her and Nathan. So she's a little awkward. But she eventually tells him that she is back with Lawrence. And then Nathan, and I've seen this, I've actually had this happen to me before, where I was with someone, dealing with somebody and reconciled with an ex and had a guy, you know, more or less kind of come at me and say, you know, you're wasting your time. I thought you was pretty much done with that. After what he did to you, I'm surprised you even want to be back with him. So, of course, Nathan throws a little salt in the game. And Issa, you know, stands up and defends Lawrence and says, you know, it's not like that. Basically, you know, watch your mouth. And then Nathan explains to her, because Issa says at least, you know, he doesn't just disappear. And then that's when Nathan explains to her that he's bipolar. And he, you know, he went away to kind of, you know, deal with his own mental health issues. And just shares that information with her. And she feels kind of bad. And then she's kind of like, oh, okay, well, my bad. I didn't realize it was like that. And they move on and they start moving stuff. Molly and Andrew, Molly comes home to Andrew's. She's got dinner. They're having a conversation about his brother, which, I'm sorry, they were having the same kind of conversation about his brother when Molly came back from the brunch. But they're having a little bit more of a deeper conversation about the brother, because the brother is basically, you know, that's Andrew's brother. So I know what happened in, you know, when they were on vacation in Mexico, you know, kind of pissed her off and rubbed her the wrong way with him. But that's his brother. So she's going to have to figure out how to make a choice to move on and just kind of forgive and see if, you know, she could just kind of move on and maybe even tolerate him, versus just completely cutting him off if she's going to continue to be with Andrew. She doesn't have to be best buds with the guy, But to some extent, she's going to have to kind of bend a little. But this is going back to how Molly is. When she's, when she feels she's right and you're wrong, she's done with you. So this is going back to how she deals with people. She needs to make a decision. And that's basically what Andrew is saying, is like, how long are you planning on being mad? This is my brother. So you're going to have to deal with him at some particular point in time. And he is trying to extend an olive branch to try to move past what happened and kind of, get past the tension and the argument they had. She's got to figure out what she's going to do with that. She did ask him a question about why, he would want her to be in a situation she's not comfortable with, which I would understand and completely get if we was talking about a homeboy. But we talk about her, that's his brother. So I get that you was upset. I get that you were mad, but this is his brother. You do need to at least get yourself to a point where you can at least be cordial with the man, because you're going to see him as he's a part of Andrew's life. He's a big part of Andrew's life. And you're going to have to figure out how to get past that. Like, you're just going to have to figure out how to get past it. But this is Molly, so we'll see how that goes. While they're having the conversation, Issa and Nathan come over to get some more stuff to move to his apartment. And then it kind of gets a little awkward again because, Issa and Molly ain't really in that place of being cool yet. Where, if this had been before their argument, it would have been, hey, girl, what you doing? Oh, we about to get some boxes. Well, come on and go over here and get y'all something to eat. Now it's kind of like, okay, you're with Nathan and I'm with Andrew, and it was awkward. It was just very awkward. Molly and Andrew asked Nathan and Issa to stay and eat and, kind of get something to eat. And at first, Issa was like, no, we just gonna get our stuff. I'm not even that hungry. And then she caught herself and was like, yeah, I'm hungry. And Nathan was like, I am too. So moving into that, they end up hanging out. They have dinner. They're laughing. They're having drinks. They're having a good time. They're talking. Issa and Molly get into a conversation about some old times and things that happened when she was in her apartment and drinking games they used to play. And then they start playing the drinking game. And again, it was kind of awkward, the transition into the drinking game, because again, now it looks like we all hanging out and Molly and Issa still clearly have an issue with each other. So Molly, they get to drinking, playing the drinking game. And in the process, Andrew gets up to go get another bottle of wine for them to drink. And in the process, Molly text messages what she thinks is Andrew, that I'm trying with Issa, right? But she thinks she's sending it to Andrew, but she actually sends it to Issa. And this is probably when I got hurt. Like, I've never been in that situation, but as far as, receiving a text message from somebody, saying something like that about me, but I can just imagine how she felt. And I was pissed. Like, what you mean you trying? You didn't have to try. I was very comfortable with leaving, and you guys insisted that we stay. And here I am thinking everything is working out, which is basically the conversation Issa and Molly eventually have when she gets up and leaves. Trying to work things out with you. And Issa is the only one putting her best foot forward and trying to get something going. And you trying, like, you don't have to try anything with me. You could have just said what you needed to say. When we came over to pick up those things, we could have just left. You don't need to try to do anything with me. That just pissed me completely off. I was so hurt for Issa. And then that's when Molly basically is saying, look, I don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know what we got going on as far as the relationship is concerned. Maybe this is just the end of the road. Maybe this is where we get off. And that's when Issa took a second and she thought about it, and she was like, yeah, maybe that's the case. So, they just agree that maybe they just don't fit. Maybe this is the end of the road. Maybe this relationship has run its course. Maybe they are different. They are two different people now. And I think the thing is, I don't think Molly is a different person at all. I think the only thing different with Molly is that she has a man. But Issa has grown up a little bit. She's matured. She's kind of experiencing things. She's figuring herself out. She's found herself in a new place. She's trying to figure out that place and where she fits in that place and how to expand that place. So there has been change and there has been growth. But it's, to me, not on Molly's end. It's on Issa's end. Issa is changing into something different. And I now I'm going to give my opinion on how I feel. I have been in this situation before several times. I am a lover of my friends. So I can't stand when I'm in situations like this because it hurts so much. But I just think that regardless of the fact that it hurts, it's time to move on. I think that Issa needs to move on, and I'm going to tie this into Lawrence. I'm not a big fan of her getting back with Lawrence either. Unless Lawrence has stepped his game up and he is in a different space that can challenge and compliment Issa, which we don't know yet. I don't see the two of them being back together. I see them being very good friends, but I don't see them being back together. That's just how I feel. I really feel like Issa needs to be with somebody that may either be in the same space she's in or a little higher than that. Somebody that can challenge her and keep her focused and keep her going and match where she's at in her life. And I don't see it being Nathan either. I don't want her and Nathan to be together. In fact, I just want her and Nathan to be friends. I just want them to be homies. I don't want her to do, and I love Nathan. I think he's cute. I think he's a nice guy, but I don't want to see her with Nathan, and I don't want to see her with Lawrence unless Lawrence is capable of challenging her, keeping her focused, and he's about his thing, and he's going to plug in with her, and they're going to take off. If it's not going to be that, I can see them being really good friends as well. I really kind of want to see Issa meet somebody else. Like I said, somebody else is a little bit stronger, a little bit different, a little bit better. That's how I feel. And as far as Molly and her are concerned, I think this is the end of the road. What I think will happen is that people are going to start leaving Molly's life. So I think Issa's first. I do think her and Andrew are going to break up. I do not see it long term for Andrew and Molly. I do see either Molly doing something and it just being too much for Andrew to handle, her personality and her nasty ass personality, or I see him cheating on her. But either way, I don't see the two of them together. I see Molly getting to a point where she's going to begin to lose things, and it is going to be because of her, and she's going to realize that she's lonely, and she's going to reach out for Issa. But what I think will happen is Issa's going to be so far ahead in the process that I don't see the two of them working a relationship out. But they've got to figure something out because they do have mutual friends, so they will see each other. But that's my take on Insecure. I thought the episode was good. Next week is the last episode, so we're going to see what happens. I'll be back next week to get my review. Please like and subscribe to my channel. It's new. I'm trying to get something going here. Share it. Tell everybody about it. Let me know in the comments what you think. What did I miss? What is your opinion? Do you think Lawrence and Issa should be together? Do you think there's a chance for Molly and Issa to reconcile their friendship at some point in time? Drop your comments. Let me know what you think. I hope you guys have a good night, and thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.